Hi everybody, I'm Vincent. Welcome if you're new, and if you're returning for another dose, thank you. My weekly walk today. My way over here. Heard I heard a song I haven't heard for a long time. And it's a little cheesy, corny, but I always thought it was, or I think of it as, I suppose, the song I'll play. I would play it or if I ever made it, i.e. got rich. I was in my supercar. The song is So Far Away from Stained. That is my generation. But the first lines, like I was saying, I've heard this for quite some time, definitely hit harder than they ever have. But it's basically, this is my life, it's not what it was before. And wow, that's quite true. This is nothing like it once, but it was a year ago. A year ago we were on summer 2024. Was still unemployed, but I was in the very optimistic phase of being unemployed still. I was actually wrapping up my reskilling into data science. Man, that ever not work out. Completed 2 boot camps. Nothing came out of it. When a career coach I spoke with basically said, pivoting your careers in this job market's not very likely, especially at my age. I told him, to be honest. I said, just let me have it. But, even though I was laid off at this time last year, like I said, I was in the optimistic phase. Of course, I didn't see what was coming 4 or 5 months later. My wife had a stroke and passed away. And I know I mentioned this last week. A whole nother week has gone by. It's probably the roughest week I've had, except for like the immediate weeks after. I'm legit just lost. I don't even know the first step to take. Steps towards traditional W-2 employment just seem to be further and further away. Those are obvious steps. I can make a couple videos about it. But here comes the wind. I'm going to resume in a different spot here. Alright. It's quite windy today. Hope it doesn't totally destroy the video. Anyway, as I was saying, I just have a hard time, and maybe it just feels this way and it's not really true, but I think it is. I'm going to have a hard time of an employer seeing past my own personal 2 biggest hangups for traditional W-2. One is my age. I'm 50 next year. 2 is I now have a very large gap since I last worked. If you're going by years, you see my last employment was 2023, we're in 2025. All the recruiter hiring manager is going to see is, oh, he hasn't worked in 2 years. I didn't mention employment gaps in the dark side of the job search video. That definitely is one that I did miss. It doesn't matter. I got laid off at the very, very end of 2023. We still have a ways to go through 2025. It's 2 years to everybody. And if your employment gap is 6 months, even that's too long. And of course, everybody says, well, if you explain it, then it's all good. It's just a way to candy coat it. There's no way to explain it. Recruiters and hiring managers don't like it. I don't know how some employer is going to hire me with what looks like a 2-year gap and being 50 next year. And I calculated, mentioned this in a video a few weeks ago, I believe, that I thought I could make it on mid-20s, 45, 50 a year. I don't think so. Kind of reran some numbers, looked at it a little bit closer. If I didn't have a mortgage, sure. But the mortgage really tacks on a good $10 an hour, is where I am. Really need lower 30s to mid 30s. So who's going to pay me, $35 an hour for $70K a year, being almost 50, and having what looks like a 2-year gap? Not just what it looks like, heck. It is a year and a half, just about. I mean, it's a big gap. So, I've just been feeling a little down lately, a little more lost. The W-2 thing just really doesn't seem like an option. The side hustle thing, I just don't know where to begin. My generation, Gen X, that's before the whole side hustle thing. I grew up in a day where you had your job, your employer kept you your whole career, you basically retired there. Yes, layoffs happened, of course, but not like they do today. You quite typically were able to stick around in your job. And you know what's weird? Let me flip around here, actually. Now I'm facing the wind. Well, we'll just see here. You know what's weird, though? I never really liked that whole model anyway. Worked for 45 plus years. Your best years, and then retire, and then live during your worst years. Like you're free. Always seems a little backwards. But at the same time, it was an option. That just doesn't feel like an option today. Not just for me, I'm talking about everybody. So, I don't know. I joke that I might wind up doing a van life channel. It may not be a joke. But who knows? Like I said, it's a hard week. Just a hard week. Not a lot of optimism flowing this past week. Which made my cemetery visit quite a bit worse than it typically is. It's already bad enough, but so I don't know where I am, where I'm going, what I'm doing, where I'll end up. Should celebrate I'm still here, still in the fight, still getting up every day. Some days it is hard. One of the things I've always wanted to be very clear on this channel is that it is honest. Yeah, some days that it's hard to get out of bed. Some days I'll lay there a lot longer than maybe I should. But still getting up. Still doing it, still trying. I just kind of wish I knew a little bit more about that side hustle thing. There's only about 80 billion videos on YouTube about it. And it's just so hard to relate, though. 15 minutes, how to make $10,000 by tomorrow. It's like, oh, come on. Seriously? It's never nearly as easy as anybody makes it out to be. And again, going back to my original point that I kind of veered way off of, when you don't grow up in the side hustle generation, it just makes it a lot harder to kind of know what to do, how to do it, how to begin. But I am putting some ads out for some service-based businesses around the local area, just to try to bring in some money while I try to figure things out. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll do a second video on that. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video. Enough rambling on for my weekly walk here. Alright guys, thanks again. Just remember, time is precious and limited. Use it wisely. And if you do use a few minutes on my videos, I do appreciate it, for sure. Thanks, and I'll see you again next video.